à consommer le soir en rentrant du travail.
In more news, the French government has reiterated its firm opposition to the proposed trade agreement between the European Union and the Mercosur bloc, stating that the draft remains are not acceptable in its current form. Government spokesperson Maud Breguet has stated that France cannot support the deal as it stands, echoing long-standing concerns raised by French farmers. Listen in to what was said.
Ces derniers ont rappelé l'importance des liens d'amitié qui unissent l'Europe et l'Amérique latine, ainsi que la nécessité de forger des partenariats dans un moment où le multilatéralisme est de plus en plus remis en cause. Pour autant, et ça a été dit très clairement par la ministre de l'Agriculture, par le président de la République, l'accord tel qu'il a été conclu, je parle bien sûr de l'accord du Mercosur, vous l'aurez compris, par la Commission européenne en décembre dernier, n'est pas acceptable en l'état. Il n'est toujours pas acceptable. Il n'y a donc pas de flou sur la position qui est celle de la France à l'heure où on se parle.
We're tracking news coming in from Belgium. We're now learning that a Belgian farmer is taking on the oil giant Total Energies in court, seeking compensation for damages caused by climate change. The lawsuit, backed by Greenpeace, which is a non-profit global organization, aims to pressure the company to reduce its oil and gas production as well as lower its greenhouse gas emissions. Now, the Belgian farmer basically argues that the company's operations harm society in general and agriculture in particular. The company, Total Energies, has not commented on this case yet, but had previously stated that it is cutting emissions and investing in alternative, greener energy sources. Speaking on the matter, a lawyer for Total Energy has stated that the climate challenge is a collective issue that cannot be addressed by singling out one company. Listen in to the comments that were made.
En définitive, c'est une action que nous déplorons parce que nous pensons que la judiciarisation du débat climatique n'est pas à la hauteur des enjeux. Il s'agit en fait d'un défi collectif. Et c'est un défi collectif qui mérite mieux. Nous pensons que effectivement, la mise en cause individuelle d'un des acteurs privés du monde de l'énergie. Et donc dans ce cadre-là, effectivement, nous pensons que c'est quelque chose qui doit être plus ambitieux qu'une action judiciaire à l'encontre de Total Energy. Doit être modifié. Nous savons tous qu'effectivement l'énergie fossile est productrice de gaz à effet de serre et que ces gaz à effet de serre sont effectivement notables et doivent effectivement être réduits pour permettre cette transition énergétique et écologique. Et que donc dans ce cadre-là, je pense que Total Energy prend sa part. Elle a un plan de transition qui est ambitieux, qui vise essentiellement à la diminution de ces gaz à effet de serre. Il est basé sur...
Now, further defending his company, he stressed that Total Energies had invested more than £20 billion in low-carbon energy ever since 2020, which clearly reflects the company's commitment to fighting global warming through massive investments and strategic initiatives. We're tracking more news coming in, this time from Tanzania. Now, Tanzania's main opposition party has rejected the government-appointed commission tasked with investigating the killings that occurred during last month's election, arguing that the body lacks true independence. Party officials have stated that the commission's composition and the process used to select its members violated the basic principle that a commission should be independent, raising concerns that its findings could be influenced by political pressure. Now, the opposition is calling for a new, neutral panel, one that includes representatives from civil society as well as human rights groups, in order to ensure a credible and transparent investigation. The controversy comes as rights organizations continue to press for answers and accountability following reports of violence as well as fatalities during the election period. Meanwhile, John Heche, the vice chairperson of Chadema, which is the main opposition party, has responded. Let's listen in to what he had to say.
Kani mtuhumiwa akajichunguza mwenyewe, halafu tutarajie haki. Serikali ya Samia ndiyo iliyoasisi, kuratibu, kutekeleza mauaji, utekaji, mateso, ubakaji, unyanyasaji, ukiukwaji mpana wa haki za binadamu. wote walioteuliwa ndani ya tume hiyo waliwahi kuwa au ni watumishi wa serikali na wanachama wa CCM, jambo ambalo kimsingi linakiuka kanuni ya kimsingi kwamba ni tume huru, haipaswi kuwa na uhusiano wowote na serikali wala chama tawala.
Focus away. We're now tracking further developments coming in. Amnesty International's latest report reveals that Kenyan authorities engaged in a systematic campaign to suppress protests led by Gen Z activists between June 2024 and July 2025. The demonstrations, which were fueled by widespread frustration over corruption, as well as a controversial new tax law, saw significant government efforts to curb the movement. Using social media and digital tools, authorities had launched targeted operations to track and intimidate protesters, curbing the spread of information and stifling dissent. Take a look.
Between June and July 2024, the Generation Z or the Gen Z, young people aged under 28, led the Reject Finance Bill protests, opposing proposed taxes on essential goods and services. Between June 2024 and July 2025, young people also organized protests online and offline, demanding an end to femicide and corruption. The Kenyan government responded with online intimidation, threats, incitement to hatred and surveillance, interfering with the rights and freedoms of expression and peaceful assembly. Online harassment and smear campaigns became the core tools of the state to undermine the credibility and reach of government critics. Some of these tactics facilitated and were later used to justify arrests, enforced disappearances, and the killings of notable protest organizers.
Viewers, we're now learning that Indonesia's Mount Semeru on the island of Java has erupted, sending pyroclastic flows and thick columns of ash and gas kilometers into the sky. Authorities immediately raised the volcano's alert status to its highest level as seismic activity remained elevated. According to the country's geological agency, officials have also warned residents to stay clear of rivers and valleys prone to hot ash flows and to follow evacuation guidance as conditions continue to shift. Now, Mount Semeru is one of Indonesia's most active volcanoes. It has erupted several times in recent years, prompting repeated safety alerts for surrounding communities. In more news, Pope Leo XIV has announced that the second edition of the World Children's Day will be held in Rome between 25th and 27th September next year. The announcement came earlier today, where he signed the flag featuring the official logo for the upcoming celebration. Interestingly, the flag was presented to the Pope by a 7-year-old boy from Gaza, who was accompanied by the president of the Pontifical Committee for the World Children's Day. Listen in to his remarks about the upcoming event and his message to children.
Il mio pensiero va anche ai bambini che avrò la gioia di incontrare nella giornata loro dedicata in programma dal 25 al 27 settembre 2026. Il mio pensiero.
In more news coming in from South Korea this time, we're learning that a passenger ferry carrying 267 people ran aground near the southwestern tip of the Korean peninsula, prompting a large-scale rescue operation and reviving memories of the 2014 ferry disaster. Now, South Korean President Lee Jae-myung, currently on a visit to the Middle East, has ordered an immediate rescue operation to ensure the safety of all passengers and crew, and has directed that the details of the operation be released to the public in real time. The South Korean Coast Guard has stated that authorities were deploying all possible resources in this particular operation. More news coming in. There's a new report that has been published by the World Health Organization which reveals that nearly a third of all women globally have experienced intimate partner or sexual violence, with 840 million women now affected at some point in their lives. WHO Chief Tedros has called the lack of progress in combating this widespread issue as a global injustice, emphasizing that 263 million of these women have suffered sexual violence as well. Now, despite efforts, the persistence of gender-based violence remains a serious challenge worldwide, underscoring the need for stronger action and support systems to protect women from abuse. Listen in.
WHO estimates that 840 million women have faced violence at least once in their lifetime, including 263 million who have suffered sexual violence. These numbers have changed little in 20 years.
The results highlight a tragic reality for women and girls worldwide, as I say, in almost essentially every community. Almost 1 in 3 women globally have suffered intimate partner violence, sexual violence, from a non-partner or both at least once in their lives. Just think of that figure, 1 in 3 women. The impacts of violence go further than the women, affecting the health and well-being of their children, their families, their communities, and of course, costing millions in the economy.
All right, viewers, due to paucity of time, it's a wrap on the newsroom. We will continue to track all of these updates very